Okay, so last week I took up the next set of lab kits. If you haven't had a chance to pick them up yet, that's perfectly fine. When you have the chance, go ahead and make that exchange and drop off your old lab kit, pick up your new one. And within the lab kit, you're going to see a couple of different things. You will have two worksheets. Don't worry about the worksheets for right now. Directions on those will come later. Put them off to the side. Like I said, not right at this moment. Do you need to worry about them or do anything with them? What you are going to be working with over the next couple of days is going to be a lab activity, which is an extension of our lymphatic system. And so you should have a beaker, some glass vials. You should also have some cotton swabs, mouthwash, and some Petri dishes. And what you're actually going to do is you guys are going to do a culture out of your mouths and see what types of things are going to be located in the human mouth. So the first thing that you need to do is the setup of the Petri dishes, and the 3 glass vials have black lids on them. You need to remove the lids and you can throw them away. You don't need them after this point. So it is very important that you do not heat these up with the lids on. Please make sure that you remove the lids. I even taped them into the beaker with a reminder to remove the lids before you heat them. Within the beaker, what you're going to do is you're going to put about an inch of water in the bottom of the beaker, and you want to make sure that it doesn't submerge the beakers complete, or the glass vials completely. But you do want there to be a little bit of water in that beaker. Put the glass vials in the water, and then you're going to start the process of heating it. In the glass vials, you have a material that is known as agar. It is a material that we use to culture. And so it's kind of like jello almost, but we need to heat it up so that it will become more liquid. And then we can pour it into the Petri dishes. And then once it's had a chance to cool, then it will go back to a firm state. The thing that you need to keep in mind, those glass vials are very small. Don't try and speed this process up. So please don't throw them in the microwave for a minute the first time around. What will happen is they will boil over and you will not have any material to use. So this is going to be kind of trial and error. I would not heat them up for any more than 10 seconds at a time. They are very small. They will heat very quickly once they get to that melting point. So it takes a little bit, like I said, 10 seconds at a time. Check it. If it's not melted, do it again. You need to make sure that it's completely liquefied so that when you do your transfer, you don't have any chunks of material. You want it to be all nice and smooth when you do the transfer, but it's a process. So please wait until, it's not going to take a huge amount of time, but please wait to do this until you have the time to focus and devote to it so that you can heat it for 10 seconds, check it, and then do another set until you get it completely melted down. But like I said, once it goes very quickly. And so if you leave it in for too long or you don't pay attention to it, they will boil over extremely fast. So please make sure that you remove those lids, put some water in the beaker, set the glass vials in the beaker, and then do very brief heating times until you get it liquefied. Once you have the solution liquefied down, you're now going to transfer it to your Petri dishes. And I put 3 Petri dishes in there. I just gave you a backup. You actually only need 2. So you can put one off to the side. Don't worry about it. If you haven't used Petri dishes in the past, Petri dish, the lid is going to be slightly larger than the bottom. So you want to set them on the table so that the smaller side of the dish is down and then the larger dish is on top. Take the lid off, put it off to the side, and you are going to take your bottom of the Petri dish and those glass vials and transfer your liquefied solution into the Petri dish. Glass vials may be warm, so make sure when you guys go to do the transfer, you have something to protect your skin so that you don't burn yourself. And obviously the liquid's going to be hot, so make sure that in the transfer, you're protecting your hands and your skin. Once you pour the liquid into the Petri dish, you want to pour it so it's about halfway up the side of the Petri dish. You don't want to go much higher than that, and you don't want to do a whole lot less than that because you don't want these to dry out. So you need to have the right amount in there, but if we typically do about halfway up the Petri dish, and that works well. So pour it so it's about halfway up the side, put it off to the side. Between the 3, you should be able to get those smaller Petri dishes filled with the material that you have. So once you get the solution into the Petri dishes, you have to kind of sit back and wait, and you have to let them cool. When they cool, they will go back to a firm state, and now you can do your culture. So the culture part of this is going to have two portions to it. The first one, you need to do a pre-clean swab. So we are going to swab the mouth, and I need you to do this before you have brushed your teeth. Or if you've brushed your teeth, that it's at least been a couple of hours since you have done that. So you'll swab your mouth. You want to take the cotton swab, work it into the gum line, over the teeth, over the tongue, and just hit all parts of your mouth with that swab, working saliva into it. And then you're going to take that Petri dish, one of your Petri dishes, and you're going to take that pre-clean swab and you are going to wave it back and forth over the Petri dish right on the solution and transfer that saliva onto the solution. Put that Petri dish aside, mark it and indicate somewhere on it that that is your pre-clean Petri dish, and then dispose of that cotton swab. The next Petri dish you're going to set up is going to be a post-clean. So now you're going to come back and you're going to clean your mouth somehow. So if you would prefer to use your toothpaste and toothbrush and do your normal routine, that is perfectly fine. I did put the mouthwash in there just so you had it available if you wanted it. Whatever method you choose, you can do, like you said, your normal toothpaste, toothbrush, you can do the mouthwash, you can do both, completely up to you, but you need to clean your mouth. And then you are going to do a post-clean swab. So now we're going to come back with a completely clean cotton swab. I gave you guys a few. Swab the mouth, same way that you did the first time, but now we're transferring saliva from your mouth after you have cleaned it. We're going to take that second Petri dish, swab. Again, you just wave it back and forth, kind of like you're waving a wand to do your transfer onto the solution. And again, mark or indicate somehow just so you can keep the two Petri dishes separate from each other and you know which one is which. The other thing, once you get them set up and you have the saliva transferred onto them, you need to put the lids on. They will dry out very, very quickly without the lids. And once they dry out, they will not culture any bacteria. You want to leave them in a place where they're cool. They're not going to have sunlight beating down on them or anything like that. And you are going to, from this point, once you get them set up and you get them swabbed, you have to do a 1 time a day daily observation. So over the course of the next 4 days, you are going to observe them. This is day 1. So the day you set up, that is day 1. Then you will do, with 24 hours later, your day 2, and then a day 3 and a day 4. So even though it carries out over 4 days, your observations take you a matter of seconds. And what I would like you to do is snap a picture of your Petri dish on day 1, and then snap a picture of your Petri dish on day 4. If you want to snap pictures on 2 and 3 and send me a picture from each day, great. But the requirement is that you do a day 1 pic and you do a day 4 picture, and then send those to me so that I can see your results. What we're obviously looking for is to see if we can culture any of the things that exist in our mouth. And it's not anything bad if you get some active growth in the pre-clean and sometimes the post-clean. I've been doing this for a number of years. We get growth in our Petri dishes. It is fully expected that you would get growth in your Petri dishes. So please don't think that anyone's going to think your mouth isn't clean or that you don't brush or anything like that. If you have pictures and there is bacteria in those Petri dishes, there should be. It is fully expected. I'm not going to do a lab activity where you're not going to have any growth. So this is the reason why we do this, so that you guys can see this. And like I said, it's an extension of our lymphatic system. We talked about our lymphatic system and how it works with our immunity. And so part of that is, and I mentioned this in the video lecture, we come in contact with things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even though we do get sick every once in a while, the fact that we are not sick all the time is pretty amazing and really speaks to how our immune system works so well for us. So when you see these bacteria cultures, the things that just naturally live in your mouth and that you can have that in your mouth and not be sick just kind of goes along with the theme of what we've been talking about. So the prep setup on day one should take you maybe about 15 minutes. And then, like I said, even though we're carrying it out 4 days, the observations are going to be pretty quick. You just need to take those Petri dishes and take a look at them. And the reason that I want you to do a daily observation, even though I'm only asking for that day one and day four picture, is because I want you to kind of track in your own mind and just see how the process goes. Is it a slow process? Is it a quick process? And with bacteria cultures, they grow in colonies. And so you might see a dot here and a dot over there on day one on your Petri dish. And then they tend to just kind of grow together and explode in number. So it is kind of interesting to watch and track that. So those daily observations, like I said, are going to be a minute or two in length. So not a huge time consuming lab, even though when I say we're doing it for 4 days, it sounds like it is quite a bit. If you have any questions, send me an email, let me know, and I will help you through the process. And like I said, with those worksheets, I'm asking you just to kind of put them off to the side for right now. I wanted you guys to have the hard copies, but we're not quite there in working through them yet. Take care, and I will see you later.